Welcome back. I'm Eric Sapanic. This is John Caro. This is the Gold Spot. So, the BRICS had another summit meeting. John, will you enlighten us, please?
Well, I don't know about enlighten, but they're going to have a meeting on the 22nd of August in South Africa. And if you've been following the stories, a lot of the things we've been talking about is starting to bubble up to the surface. They're going to have a gold-backed currency. No, they're not going to have a gold-backed currency. They want to get away from the dollar, but they're still using the dollar. They want to have everybody included, but they're not letting anybody join. What does that mean? A lot of confusion, a lot of uncertainty. Nobody knows what's going to happen. And I think from our point of view, that's just raising everybody's level of concern about security, stability, and what does the future bring.
I mean, when you look at all the different media sources that are talking about this, confusion is just inevitable at this point in time. Half the time you don't know who to believe, who's more boasting their opinion about something versus what's actually happening. But what we do know is this: China definitely isn't looking for partners. Like you've said to me, they're really looking just for a cow to be milked. They're looking to just use these other countries for their betterment. They're not trying to, create a global system. They want to be dominant. And that, I mean, that's kind of the way China's been for quite some time. Now, with that being said, the BRICS nations, if they don't support a gold-backed standard, trying to rival something like the dollar doesn't seem possible. What's your take on that?
Well, again, they're confusing a grab for power. They want to be released from the control of the United States, but they still want the stability that the dollar provides. I'm not talking about the value of the dollar, but the stability, the political and economic stability. And these are countries that have very weak, unstable economies, and they want to pull away and go on their own. Just don't see it happening in a way that's going to be productive for everybody. And I think the end result of that is going to be a move towards hard metal.
Okay, I agree. I think hard metal, if they're really going to be serious about this, I think backing with gold is the only way that the world's going to take them very seriously. But if they did back by gold, I believe that the world will take them very seriously.
Well, it brings you back to the old quote by J.P. Morgan, gold is money, everything else is credit. We're living on the everything else is credit side of the equation today, and that's going to have to change.
Great quote. Okay, the other thing we want to jump to here and talk about is also, once again, digital currency. FedNow was rolled out July 20th, 2023, according to the government's website, which is, this is something that I think people have a really, I don't think everyone's looking at this for exactly what it is. The banking system in this country is archaic. The way that things transfer, it's kind of ridiculous. Now, something had to be done, and in my opinion, and this is an opinion, it is far past due that automatic transfers have been streamlined up until this point in time. It's crazy that you can write a check and then 10 days later you don't know if the check's good or not. As a matter of fact, a lot of our clients would ask us, why is my check, it cleared my account, why aren't you shipping my product yet? And we would tell them, listen, we don't know for another 10 days or so if this check is good or not. It is absolutely crazy how long things take in our banking sector. Now, with that being said, the real concern here is overreach. The minute that we see more, because I mean, most of your dollars are already digital. I mean, you transfer $1 million through a wire transfer, that's digital transfer. There's no cash being delivered from one bank to another. So what do you think, John? What do you think people's main concern is right now when it comes to digitizing all currency, with this being kind of a springboard to that direction? At least that's the concern.
It's two separate things. The FedNow is an internal clearing system that's going to be more efficient. Digital currency is the natural extension of the credit card society and things like that. What's concerning people is the invasion of privacy, the potential invasion of privacy. We saw that last year as an experiment in China, where they issued digital yuan that had an expiration date. That's not going to fly in America, but it's something that somebody's going to try down the road, and people are worried about it. They're already worried about their invasion of privacy. You go on the web and the internet, tracks what you look at, and all of a sudden you get ads for similar companies. Privacy is slowly being eroded, and that's what people are worried about.
Well, I think the other thing that we've seen banks shut down gun companies because they deal with guns and they don't like guns anymore. So now they won't, like B of A did that. They wouldn't let people have their bank accounts. People dealing with high levels of cash all of a sudden get shut down. Let's say, I mean, we've got some main concerns right now. One is that all the smaller banks are eventually going to be swallowed up by the bigger banks, right? Everyone's concerned about that right now, especially after we saw how absolutely weak something like Silicon Valley Bank was and how quick that it fell apart and got swallowed up by a bigger one. That is one of the big concerns right now. So if you take that same concern and say, hey, we all, you know, the tsunami happens where all the smaller banks get swallowed up by the bigger banks, and then all of a sudden we take cash away from people. Well, then really now you're talking about an oligarchy when it comes to the banking system. You will get controlled by private companies and government as to what you can do with your money.
And people are going to find an alternative. They always do. You know, it's like water always finds the crack in the sidewalk. Just because they tell us we can't use folding money doesn't mean people are going to not use it. They're going to find an alternative. And I keep coming back to gold.
Well, gold's, I mean, to this day is still, when it comes to liquidity, privacy, and something that you can come in and out of a marketplace within a New York second, there's nothing better than gold.
Yep.
So with that being said, go ahead, go to our, you can text in again, of course. Our new digital currency report is available right now, and we'd be happy to text that to you, email it to you, or you can always give us a call and talk to one of your representatives. That's it for me. John, any last words of wisdom for our...
No, you know, just I've said this before, protect yourself at all times. Think long term and take the appropriate steps.
You guys have a great weekend. We'll see you next week on The Gold Spot.